They believed Earth would scream, beg, and fall apart. They believed humans were weak, divided, and afraid. They were wrong, because before the first alien weapon fired, humanity sent a message that made the galaxy stop breathing. The chamber of the Galactic Order floated above a dying star. Its light poured through crystal walls and painted long shadows across the circular council table. 12 species sat in silence, each one ancient, powerful, and feared. This council had ruled the stars for longer than human history had even existed. At the center stood Executor Vila, supreme voice of the Order. His species had no hair, no visible pupils, and skin like polished stone. He had overseen the erasure of entire civilizations and slept peacefully afterward. This session concerns expansion, Vila announced calmly. A new world has been evaluated. A hologram formed above the table. A blue planet spun slowly, wrapped in white clouds and surrounded by fragile satellites. Designation: Earth, Vila continued. Inhabited by a carbon-based species calling themselves humans. Several council members leaned forward. Others showed mild boredom. "They are loud," said Admiral Krenth of the Warcast, his armored claws resting on the table. "Their communication systems leak constantly into space." "They are divided," added Matron Sileth, whose species fed on political control. "Over 200 ruling factions. Constant conflict." Vila nodded. "Technological level. Insignificant. Limited interplanetary travel. No functional planetary shields. No unified military command." A low ripple of satisfaction moved through the chamber. "Recommendation?" asked one of the elders. Vila did not hesitate. "Standard compliance operation. Fleet 7. 500 vessels." Admiral Krenth smiled. "Generous. They will break before the first hour." The vote was instant. Unanimous. Earth was marked for annihilation. On Earth, no alarms rang. No cities burned. No one panicked. Instead, deep beneath the ice of Antarctica, lights turned on. The facility had no official name. On classified files, it was simply called Vault Zero. It was older than most space agencies, funded through programs that never appeared on any public budget. Dr. Elias Moren stood at the center of the command floor, hands clasped behind his back. He was not tall. He was not loud. But every person in the room listened when he spoke. "Confirm the data," he said quietly. A young analyst swallowed. 500 vessels. FTL signatures confirmed. Arrival window, 6 days, 12 hours. Elias closed his eyes for a moment. "So," he said, "they finally decided we're worth killing." General Rhea Calder stood beside him, arms crossed. Her face was calm, but her jaw was tight. "World governments." "Already notified," Elias replied. "Emergency consensus achieved in record time. Fear is a good motivator." Rhea snorted softly. "Funny how humans only unite when extinction shows up on the calendar." A screen lit up, showing leaders from across the planet. Some looked terrified. Others angry. A few already looked defeated. Elias stepped forward. "They will offer surrender," he said. "They always do. Slavery disguised as peace." "And if we refuse?" asked one leader. Elias looked straight into the camera. "Then they erase us." Silence followed. "But," Elias continued, "they are making the same mistake every empire makes." Rhea smiled slightly. "They think we are honest about our weakness." Elias pressed a control. New images filled the screens. Hidden shipyards under mountains. Power sources that bent physics. AI cores older than modern internet. Silent weapons designed not to destroy, but to expose. "We let them listen," Elias said. "We let them believe we were chaotic, reckless, divided." A leader whispered, "All this time, we were lying." "No," Elias replied. "We were learning." Far beyond Earth's orbit, Fleet 7 advanced in perfect formation. Commander Threx watched the blue dot grow larger on the main display. His species valued efficiency above all things, and this mission was insulting in its simplicity. "Any response from the planet?" he asked. "None," an officer replied. "Their channels are active, but no unified signal." Threx chuckled. "Fear paralysis. Typical." Then a soft tone sounded. "Incoming transmission," said the officer. "Source, Earth. Broad spectrum. Unencrypted." Threx raised an eyebrow. "Unencrypted? How crude." "Play it." The screen changed. A human appeared. Not a soldier. Not a politician. Just a man in a plane room, wearing a dark jacket, eyes steady, posture relaxed. "My name is Elias Moren," the human said. "I am speaking on behalf of Earth." Threx leaned back, amused. "We know who you are," Elias continued. "We know where you came from. We know how many worlds you've erased." The bridge grew quiet. "We know your fleets," Elias said calmly. "Your command structure. Your internal conflicts. Your lies." Threx's amusement faded. "You should not have this information," he said slowly. Elias smiled, but there was no warmth in it. "You should not have underestimated curiosity," Elias replied. The screen shifted. Files opened. Records. Evidence. Broadcast spread instantly, not just to the fleet, but outward, faster than any weapon. Hidden massacres. Manufactured plagues. Betrayals buried for millennia. And the message continued. "This transmission is not a threat," Elias said. "It is a mirror." Threx felt something unfamiliar tighten in his chest. "What have you done?" he whispered. Elias looked directly at him. "We introduced you to the truth," he said. "And truth spreads faster than fear." The transmission ended. Alarms erupted across the fleet. Incoming signals. Mutiny reports. Protests from Allied systems. Threx stood frozen. Far away, on Earth, Elias watched the data flood in. "They are panicking," Rhea said. "No," Elias corrected softly. "They are waking up." He turned toward the sealed doors of Vault 0. "Phase 2, he said. "Let the galaxy decide what happens next." And somewhere among the stars, an empire that had never doubted itself began to crack. The galaxy had never moved this fast. Across thousands of star systems, communication networks ignited like dry grass catching fire. Worlds that had obeyed the Galactic Order for centuries were suddenly asking questions they were never allowed to ask. Old recordings resurfaced. Forbidden files unlocked themselves. Entire histories rewrote overnight. Fleet 7 felt it first. Commander Threx stood on the bridge of his flagship, surrounded by chaos. Officers shouted reports from every direction. Screens filled with alerts, warnings, and demands from systems that had once bowed without question. "Commander," an officer said, struggling to keep his voice steady. 3 auxiliary fleets have halted their advance. They are requesting clarification regarding classified operations from 2,000 cycles ago. Another voice cut in. "Planet Korath has declared emergency independence. Their defense grid is targeting our supply routes." Threx clenched his jaw. This was impossible. Rebellion did not happen like this. Not everywhere. Not all at once. "Suppress the leaks," he ordered. "Seal internal channels. Issue command override." The officer hesitated. "Sir, overrides are being rejected. Someone has root access." Threx slowly turned. "No species has that level of access," he said. "Humans do," the officer replied quietly. On Earth, the room inside Vault 0 was alive with controlled urgency. Screens showed live feeds from across the galaxy. Riots. Council chambers in chaos. Fleets refusing orders. Dr. Elias Moren stood still, watching history fracture. "They're not attacking yet," General Rhea Calder said. "Fleet 7 is holding position outside Mars orbit." "They are waiting," Elias replied. "They think fear will reassert control." Rhea folded her arms. "And if it doesn't?" Elias finally smiled. Then they do what all bullies do when exposed. They strike blindly. He tapped the console. Begin Phase 2 dissemination, he said. A technician looked up. All of it. All of it, Elias confirmed. The last secrets unlocked. Commander Threx felt the shift before he saw it. New transmissions began flooding the bridge. Not protests. Not demands. Confessions. Governors admitting they had been forced into compliance. Scientists revealing weaponized diseases they were ordered to develop. Military leaders sharing execution orders signed by the Order itself. Every lie. Documented. Every crime. Time-stamped. Threx backed away from the display. This is psychological warfare, he growled. Primitive, emotional manipulation. But his voice lacked certainty. Sir, an officer said, voice trembling. The Home Council has dissolved. The elder species are accusing each other. There is fighting. Threx stared. The Galactic Order did not fight internally. It crushed dissent long before it formed. How did humans do this? He asked. No one answered. 6 days earlier, in a forgotten corner of Earth, the answer had been born. Inside a small research lab disguised as a civilian weather station, a young engineer named Leanne Park stared at a string of alien code scrolling across her screen. It's not encrypted, she whispered. Her supervisor frowned. Everything alien is encrypted. Not this, Leanne said. It's trusted. She leaned closer. They never thought someone outside the Order would look here. That assumption had doomed them. Humans did not break the Order's systems with force. They slid into the spaces no one guarded. Maintenance protocols. Legacy code. Forgotten access keys. Curiosity had been their weapon. Patience their shield. Back in space, Threx's fleet drifted in silence. Commander, an officer said, hesitating. We are receiving an open channel request. Source, Earth. Threx's eyes burned. Put it on. Elias appeared again. You should turn back, Elias said calmly. Threx snarled. You think information makes you powerful? No, Elias replied. Understanding does. You are facing extinction, Threx said. Elias nodded. So are you. The screen shifted again. Live feeds from Order worlds. Entire species rising up. Supply chains collapsing. Fleets splitting apart as crews refused orders. You built your empire on the idea that no one could see the whole picture, Elias said. We did. Threx slammed his claw into the console. You are still weak, he roared. We will burn your planet and restore order. Elias's expression hardened. You already lost, he said. You just haven't accepted it yet. The transmission ended. On Earth, Vault Zero shook slightly as systems powered up. Rhea watched massive readouts scroll by. Guardians are online. Elias exhaled slowly. Only deploy if they cross the red line, he said. And if they do, then humanity stops hiding. Threx stood alone on the bridge after ordering Fleet 7 forward. He knew the risk. He knew the Order was breaking. But he also knew something else. Empires did not forgive humiliation. If he destroyed Earth, history would remember him as the fist that restored control. If he failed, the fleet jumped. Space folded. And for the first time in his long career, Threx felt fear, not of death, but of irrelevance. Back on Earth, Elias watched the fleet's trajectory update. They are coming, Rhea said. Yes, Elias replied softly. Exactly as predicted. He looked around the room. Scientists. Soldiers. Engineers. Ordinary humans. Remember this moment, Elias said. Not because we survived. He paused. But because we refused to be silent. Above Earth, ancient warships emerged from hyperspace. Below, humanity waited. And the galaxy held its breath. The first alien warship crossed the red line above Earth. That single act triggered something humanity had hidden for decades. Across the planet, in places no satellite had ever marked correctly, the ground began to move. Commander Threx watched Earth grow larger on the main screen. His fleet formed a wide arc, weapons charged but not yet fired. He expected panic, missiles, desperate broadcasts, chaos. Instead, Earth was silent. Too silent. "Scan the surface again," Threx ordered. "Full spectrum." Sensors swept the planet. Then alarms screamed. "What is that?" an officer shouted. From beneath Earth's oceans, enormous shapes rose through the water without disturbing it. Not ships in the traditional sense, no visible engines, no heat bloom, no sound. They moved like thoughts given form. From deserts, mountains, and polar ice, more emerged. 50. Exactly 50. Each one dwarfed a Dominion cruiser. Threx felt his throat tighten. These are not primitive vessels," he said slowly. "No, Commander," replied the sensor officer. "They are something else." Inside Vault Zero, every screen showed the same thing. The Guardians had awakened. General Rear Calder watched in silence as the human fleet took position in orbit. They did not rush. They did not threaten. They simply appeared, precise, calm, undeniable. "They waited until now," Rear said. "They let the galaxy see it." Elias nodded. "Power only matters when witnesses exist." A technician turned. "Incoming transmission. Fleet 7. Elias considered it for a moment. "Open channel," he said. Commander Threx appeared, his expression no longer arrogant. "What are those ships?" Threx demanded. "They are ours," Elias replied. "You claimed weakness," Threx said. "You hid." "Yes," Elias agreed. "Because predators hunt strength. They ignore patience." Threx stared. "You built these using stolen technology." Elias shook his head. "Recovered technology. Improved by human creativity. Powered by something you never measured." "And what is that?" Threx asked. Elias leaned forward. "Refusal." The channel closed. The first shot did not come from Earth. It came from Fleet 7. A single Dominion destroyer fired, testing human defenses. The beam struck one Guardian directly. Nothing happened. The light bent, curved, and vanished like it had never existed. Silence filled space. Then the Guardian responded. Not with a beam. With gravity. The destroyer folded inward, crushed by forces it could not comprehend, and disappeared without an explosion. The rest of Fleet 7 froze. On thousands of worlds watching the live feeds, entire populations gasped. The Galactic Order had never looked small before. Threx shouted orders. "All ships, defensive pattern. Fire!" Hundreds of beams cut through space. The Guardians moved. They did not dodge. They rewrote trajectories. They redirected energy back into empty space. Some attacks simply ceased to exist. Then the Guardians advanced. One by one, Dominion ships were disabled, not destroyed, but shut down. Systems locked. Weapons silent. Crews alive but powerless. Elias watched calmly. "They're not killing them," Rear said. "No," Elias replied. "We want witnesses." On a distant Order-controlled world, a young alien named Cyrix watched the battle on a public broadcast. His species had served the Order for generations. He had believed the stories. The protection. The stability. Now he saw the truth. The humans were not conquerors. They were stopping one. Around him, others began to speak openly for the first time. "We were lied to. They were never gods. They can bleed." Hope spread faster than fear ever had. Back on the flagship, Threx sank into his command chair. "We cannot win," an officer whispered. Threx closed his eyes. For the first time, he understood. The humans had never planned to defeat the Order with force alone. They had dismantled belief. They had exposed lies. And now, they showed restraint where the Order never had. That restraint terrified him more than weapons. "Signal Earth," Threx said quietly. The channel opened again. Elias appeared. "This ends now," Threx said. "Withdraw your ships. We will negotiate." Elias studied him. "No," he said. Threx stiffened. "Then you will destroy us." "No," Elias replied. "You will choose." "Choose what?" Elias gestured, and the screen split. On one side, images of Order worlds already rising up, forming new alliances. On the other, Fleet 7, disabled, surrounded but unharmed. "You can return," Elias said, "and tell the truth. Or you can attack again, and prove everything we exposed was right." Threx felt something inside him collapse. Slowly, he bowed his head. "We will stand down," he said. Across space, Fleet 7 powered down its weapons. The galaxy watched. On Earth, cheers erupted, but Elias raised a hand. "This is not victory," he said. "It is responsibility." Rhea nodded. "They'll try again someday." "Yes," Elias said. "But next time, they won't come as masters." He looked at the stars. "They'll come as equals, or not at all." Far away, as Fleet 7 retreated, the Galactic Order was no more. In its place, something unfamiliar began to form. Choice. And the galaxy would never forget the day humans stopped hiding. Victory did not feel like celebration. On Earth, people watched the stars in silence. There were no parades, no fireworks, no songs of triumph. Humanity had survived, but survival came with a cost heavier than fear. In Vault Zero, the room was quiet. The Guardians remained in orbit, motionless, like statues carved from night itself. Elias Moren stood alone near the main display, watching reports from across the galaxy. Systems once ruled by the Galactic Order were breaking apart, not in violence, but in confusion. Old governments collapsed. New voices rose. Ancient enemies suddenly found themselves free at the same time. Freedom, Elias knew, was not gentle. General Rhea Calder approached him. "We're receiving messages," she said. "Not threats." Elias turned. "Requests." Rhea nodded. "Advice. Mediation. Protection." Elias closed his eyes briefly. "They don't want another empire," he said. "They want someone to stop chaos. And they think that someone is us." "Yes." Rhea sighed. "We never planned for this part." "No," Elias agreed. "But humanity never planned most of its history." Far from Earth, aboard the retreating flagship, Commander Threx stared at the stars. His fleet moved slowly now, stripped of authority, watched by species that once bowed. An officer approached carefully. "Commander, some crews are refusing to return to Order space. They say the Order no longer exists." Threx did not respond at first. "Let them go," he finally said. The officer hesitated. "Sir." Threx turned. His posture was different now. Smaller. Older. "We enforced obedience for so long," he said quietly. "I no longer know how to command belief." He looked at the distant glow of Earth. "They won without conquering," he said. "That is terrifying." On a former Order world named Talrex Prime, millions gathered in open plazas for the first time in recorded history. No enforcers. No surveillance drones. Syrinx stood among them, his heart pounding. "We are free," someone shouted. But another voice answered, "From what?" The question spread. Freedom without direction was dangerous. Syrinx felt it. Excitement mixed with fear. The humans had shattered chains, but chains had also held things together. A massive screen activated. A human face appeared. Elias Moren. "We did not come to rule you," Elias said calmly. "We came to give you truth. What you build from it is your choice." A murmur rippled through the crowd. "But," Elias continued, "choice does not mean isolation. We offer cooperation. Shared knowledge. Mutual defense." Someone shouted, "Why should we trust you?" Elias nodded. You shouldn't. Not blindly. He paused. Judge us by what we refuse to do. The transmission ended. Cyrix felt something unfamiliar settle in his chest. Hope, without command. Back on Earth, arguments erupted across governments. We should lead, some said. We should withdraw, others argued. This isn't our responsibility. Elias listened to them all. Then he spoke. We exposed a lie that ruled the galaxy for 10,000 years, he said. We don't get to walk away and pretend nothing followed. A leader snapped, so we become the new order. Elias shook his head sharply. No. Rhea stepped forward. We become the example. Silence followed. Days passed. The Guardians remained in orbit, not as threats, but as reminders. Human ships began limited missions, not to conquer, but to listen. To map. To understand. Where conflicts erupted, humans did not choose sides. They forced transparency. Shared data. Let lies collapse under light. It was slower than war. Harder than domination. But it worked. On the edge of human space, a small fleet approached Earth, unarmed. Elias watched as alien representatives entered Earth's atmosphere for the first time not as invaders, but as guests. In a simple chamber, no grand throne, no elevated seats, they met. We do not understand your restraint, one alien said. Elias replied, neither did we, once. Another asked, why help us? Elias thought for a moment. Because when we were weak, he said, we learned how terrifying unchecked power could be. Rhea smiled faintly. And we decided not to become it. Commander Threx watched news of these meetings from afar. The humans were not replacing the Order. They were dismantling the need for one. For the first time, Threx felt relief. Above Earth, the Guardians powered down one by one. Not removed. Not hidden. Just waiting. Humanity had shown the galaxy something no species ever had before. Strength without domination. Victory without annihilation. Power with restraint. And the galaxy was changing. Slowly, painfully, honestly. But one question remained unanswered. How long would it last? Elias looked up at the stars. We have made enemies, Rhea said quietly. Yes, Elias replied. And one day, someone stronger may come. Elias nodded. Then we'll teach them, he said softly, the same lesson. The galaxy did not heal overnight. Empires collapsed quickly. Trust did not. Across hundreds of worlds, old scars reopened as species argued, negotiated, and struggled to decide what freedom meant. Some wanted revenge. Others wanted isolation. A few tried to rebuild the same systems under different names. Humanity watched, and waited. Above Earth, the Guardians remained in silent orbit, no longer symbols of fear, but of memory. They were reminders of what had almost happened. Inside Vault Zero, Dr. Elias Moren prepared for what he believed would be the most dangerous moment of all. Not war. Conversation. The signal went out across known space. Not a command. Not a demand. An invitation. A gathering. Neutral ground. No fleets. No weapons. A council, not of rulers, but of representatives. Many refused to come. Some did. Among them was Cyrix, standing nervously aboard a transport ship as it entered Earth's orbit. He had never imagined seeing the planet that broke the order with words instead of fire. Earth looked ordinary. That scared him more than any weapon. The chamber was simple. No towering throne. No elevated platforms. Everyone sat at the same level. Humans. Aliens. Former enemies. Former servants. Elias stood in the center. We are not here to lead you, he said. We are here to ask one question. Silence filled the room. What kind of galaxy do you want to live in? Murmurs spread. An alien representative stood. Order kept us safe. Another snapped back. Order enslaved us. Cyrix swallowed and stood as well. We followed because we were afraid, he said. Now we are afraid because we are free. Elias nodded. Fear doesn't disappear when chains fall. It changes shape. A human delegate spoke. So what do we do? Elias looked around the room. You decide, he said. Together. Far away, in the shadows of deep space, something listened. A species older than the Galactic Order. Patient. Observant. They had watched countless civilizations rise and fall. And now, humans. Assess them, a voice echoed. They do not conquer, another replied. They destabilize. They do not dominate, said a third. They expose. Silence followed. They are dangerous, the first voice concluded. Or necessary, another countered. The watchers waited. The council lasted days. Arguments. Walkouts. Returns. No executions. No silencing. Something unheard of in galactic politics. Slowly, painfully, agreements formed. Shared communication standards. Open data verification. Mutual defense without forced compliance. No empire. No single ruler. Just accountability. It was fragile. It was imperfect. It was real. On Earth, protests still existed. Doubt remained. Why help them? People asked. They enslaved others. They would have killed us. Elias answered publicly for the first time. Yes, he said. They would have. But if we only survive by becoming the same thing, he continued, then extinction would have been simpler. That silenced many. Not all. But enough. Commander Threx watched the new galaxy take shape from afar. No one had asked him to attend. He understood why. Yet one day, a human message arrived. Simple. You are welcome to observe. Threx stared at it for a long time. Then he accepted. Years passed. Human technology spread, not as gifts, but as cooperation. Humans learned just as much as they taught. The Guardians slowly deactivated, one by one, their purpose fulfilled. Earth returned to the background of the galaxy, not as a ruler, but as a reference point. The species that said no. The species that spoke when silence would have been easier. And then, one day, the Watchers decided. A signal appeared at the edge of human space. Ancient. Powerful. Every defense system lit up automatically. Elias stood calmly. Open channel, he said. The voice that came through was not hostile. It was curious. You changed the pattern, it said. Yes, Elias replied. You were meant to be erased. Yes. Why did you resist differently? Elias thought for a moment. Because we learned early, he said, that survival isn't about strength. Then what is it about? The voice asked. Elias smiled slightly. Choice. The signal paused. Then, for the first time in its long existence, the ancient species withdrew, without threat. The galaxy exhaled. Humanity did not become legends because they were strongest. They became legends because when faced with annihilation, they chose truth over terror. And that choice echoed forever. The end.